Okay, thank you.
Good to go.
Right. Call to order the August 3rd meeting of the Trails and Greenways Committee for Newtown Township. We'll start with our roll call. Chair Anthony Vincenzo present.
Vice Chair Beth Benji.
John Custer present.
Barry McCarthy present.
Members not in attendance, Mark Carr, Dr. Jalea Archer, Joe Falcon, and Erin Cook. Erin did tell me she's on vacation this week, so I know I knew she wasn't going to join us. Moment of silence, please. Everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Next item of business is consider approving the agenda for today. I don't know how many of you had a chance to review, but any comments, any additional things, or do I hear a motion to approve as is?
So moved.
Moved by moved and seconded. Thank you. Agenda is approved. Moving on to item 5, public comment for the agenda only. No one in the audience, and I'm assuming we didn't get any questions ahead of time. Okay. Moving on to item 6. So the meeting minutes from the June meeting didn't make it in enough. We had a confusing just where it was going and everything. So we're actually approving the last 2 months this month, or June and July. I don't know if they need to be 2 separate motions to approve, sir. Or... Yeah.
No, you should be able to approve them together. Again, even if somebody wasn't here, as long as people say it's an accurate representation, they can vote to approve it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I move to approve them. I move to approve both months.
Second.
Terry, you got this one. Seconded by McCarthy. All right. Both of them are approved. Thank you.
Did you have a vote? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Did you vote? I missed the.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. All in favor to approve? Aye. All right. No opposed. Motion passes to approve both sets of minutes. Thank you, Mr. Neese. On to new business. Item number 7. The updates on past trail walks. So I'll talk, and Terry can even mention about the farmers market that we had back in the beginning of July. That was awesome. It was honestly really a great time. We had the community table right out front of the farmers market, which I'm happy to see, just because when we first moved here, I think the farmers market was still relatively new, and it wasn't as much. There's a lot of traffic, a lot of good people, a lot of vendors. So it was nice in general to go for that. But then we got a lot of people coming up. The banner looked great. So thank you, Terry, for coordinating that. And we had a lot of families that we got to talk to about the possibility of the bike ride and everything. We're pushing people to the master plan, the network plan, and our website link, so they can see what we're going on, and also the meetup link. That was really good. I was shocked at like how many people were interested and wanted to engage with us and come up and find out what's going on. Especially happy to see like the amount of families and kids that were interested. And we even saw a couple of people that we had seen on some of our walks before.
Right.
And like families with kids that, oh yeah, I remember that. And okay, yeah, I remember you. So that's always nice. So that was pretty good from my perspective, just to get that many people interested face to face that were there for other reasons, but it was a worthwhile endeavor, and hopefully we can do it again, I think. So Terry?
There probably are openings in August. I haven't looked at the schedule, but I will say that the township setting up the table and that gigantic tent to help.
That thing is
people were
huge.
like, he was saddled with, I mean, it took, well, how
It
many,
was
three,
good.
four of us to put it together, get it jammed it back together, and in your car,
Oh.
the table fit on top of his car.
It had to go on the roof rack.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was longer than my roof rack
It
even.
doesn't fold.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
that transportation of that for a normal citizen is kind of onerous.
Yeah.
I'd say.
That was good. And then Mr. Sharretts met me at the township building the next day, so I could get it in safekeeping and everything. So that was very helpful.
Great.
Yeah.
I did buy.
It actually
something.
shielded us from that crazy like storm that
Storm.
came over. Yeah.
I did buy something. I'm not asking you guys for anything. I saw a really cool review of a battery powered van on Wirecutter on the New York Times. So I bought it and it's in my house. I'm trying it. You can pick it up, carry it to the ballpark or to what, because I get bit by mosquitoes and I thought this will work for me. We could use that on the table, any one of our tables.
It was an exceptionally hot day that day. Yeah.
Because it was hot.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah.
That was like right in the middle of that heat wave they were in
Yeah.
for sure.
So down the pike, we could benefit maybe some other stuff.
And then Leonard came by as well, as he does occasionally with the farmer's market. He stopped by and we got to talk with him. And so it was overall a great event. And I think way better engagement than I even thought it would be. So very happy about that.
Glad you like it.
Yeah, it was good. I was getting the text from the wife the whole time. When are you coming back?
It's working.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the sunrise walk with Connect Edgemont, I did not get to go to that. That was like the day I was leaving for vacation and there was like no way I was leaving the house when we were finalizing, but it looked really cool.
It was phenomenal. We did that at Okie Hawking with Connect Edgemont. 30 people at 5:30 on the morning on a Saturday morning.
I was shocked to see that
Oh,
numbers,
it's
yeah.
gorgeous. You know, just the sunrise over the sort of wavy hills in the mist and everybody had loved it.
It was probably helpful because it was so hot out that people were like, you know what? That early might actually be nice.
That was the coolest time of day and it was quiet because there's no traffic.
It's a nice time of the morning. I
So you
mean,
heard the
birds are
birds.
out.
Yeah, I
It's
was
great.
so impressed. I did not believe we'd get so many people.
I didn't think 30 people, that's awesome,
30
yeah.
people, boy, came out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm hoping we'll do that again. I know our next walk is going to be with Connect Edgemont as well as the Friends of Marple Trails,
Mhm.
Marple.
Doug Hughes,
Down,
Marple, yeah.
yeah, and Don Guinellis.
Yep.
So we like.
I
working
saw the
with those
emails,
guys.
yeah, it's good. Maybe we can do a sunset one later in the year. But that was I was very happy to see that you guys had such a good turn.
Missed you.
I know.
And,
That's usually when I like to do my hiking too.
yeah,
Yeah, me and my dog, I go driving out in the middle of nowhere, sleep in the truck and wake up as soon as the sun's up and then I'm up because then there's no one on the trail at that hour. It's nice.
right. We've disturbed a lot of wildlife.
I'm sure. Did you jump up any deer on the,
There
Wow.
were deer, we startled some bunnies.
Yeah.
There's a place there that has like a platform that you look out over. It's the first time I'd ever seen that area. I was really impressed, and there were bunnies underneath that, so when people started walking,
Yeah.
they're like,
yeah, the little timber platform at the top of the hill above the
Yes,
barns, yeah.
that was a nice spot for a look at.
Yeah, it's a nice spot if you're coming the opposite way up that hill, because it's a steep hill and then you get the rest up there. It's
We
a
went
nice
down.
spot.
Did you go by the pond?
Yes,
A lot of times that has wood ducks in there.
oh, okay,
The one off of Delchester with the,
That's the one kind of up on the hill.
there
Okay.
were, the good
Oh,
thing
yeah.
was that Annie Thorne has this background knowledge, of course, with the Okie Hawking environment, and then also Cindy Mahalo came. So when they were talking water and so forth, these are the things that augment the value for. And they enjoyed that.
That's great. All right, perfect. So future trail walks, you already kind of mentioned it, working on one with Friends of Marple Newtown Trails at the Don Guinella site. Do we have a date?
We have a date. It's August 26th at 7 a.m. That will be also hosted by people who have deep knowledge of the historic value. There's some sort of whetstone mill that was in there. I walked it
Yeah.
last and with my husband. I will say, this is gonna be a different walk because it's a lot of single file. Going through the
narrow.
woods and the things are growing over it and you're crossing a creek, crossed it 4 times.
Is this literally on the single track where the people like to mountain bike through there?
No, well.
Because that's a
people-
real, I know there's a bunch of mountain bike trails that are real narrow through there.
That's surprised me, I think that the township doesn't like that because there were.
They're
other
gonna take it down.
entrances, and they
Dangerous.
blocked them.
I think
Yeah.
I am actually a little disappointed to hear that because it's a very popular thing
It
with
is.
a lot of, and cycling too and all that. I mean,
Perhaps there's
that was,
such a-
because that's supposed to be one of the big things with that new park that they're building there is that not having just everybody drive to it, but open up options for people to cycle to it and, you know,
can,
so that's a
and
bummer to
it-
hear
it-
that.
But here's the thing, when Tony and I were leaving, a guy totally outfitted with his dirt bike and all all that stuff. He's looking to get into the trail, obviously, where you historically did. And
Mm.
I don't know if everybody has seen the new trail. I guess but it's tiny and it's beyond the parking lot. So whereas you used to walk across and go right down this, when we cleaned it up, it was now there's brush and everything.
Mhm.
So it's like, I don't know what they want to do, but this guy can't get in there from here. So I don't know how
Yeah.
they're gonna address that.
I don't know.
It's a county park, so I don't know how they're.
Delaware County, yeah. They talked about it a lot at the Trail Summit this year. They talked about it the previous year, but this year they were really talking about it and there was,
Oh, yeah. I went
A
there
lot.
with Doug Humes a couple of months ago and a bunch of historical experts that knew everything about what was going on in there. And if we can get some of those guys, that would be fantastic.
Some
Doug
of
can
them
probably
agreed-
get them.
yeah, they,
Yeah, they've agreed to
Yeah,
do it,
good.
some of these guys.
I think.
They also want to do a post at the Massey House. I don't know where
Okay,
that
your
is. What's
Your
that?
microphone,
Oh.
put it on.
Do you know where the Massey House is? They want to have some reception afterwards there. Not,
I've never been there, but it's nearby.
is it? It's not walk to? You have to drive to it? I don't know. That's up to Doug. But yeah, I'm waiting on Doug to give me the final trail. Before I post it on the meetup or do any publicity, because the trail I walked was from All Trails.
Yeah.
And so was 2 and some miles. And it was beautiful, but it was also, like I say,
Single file.
single file. Your feet are gonna get wet if you don't step carefully over the rocks.
Hmm.
And some people, and there's one really steep place that I'm gonna write about, because if you don't walk down sideways or have a stick, there's nothing to grab,
Yeah,
you know, so you gotta be careful there.
well, it's good. Look forward to it though.
That's one of them. We have some others.
Is that a Saturday?
Yes, that's Saturday,
The
the
26th
twenty-sixth
at
at
7 a.m.
7 a.m. We also have,
And the meeting is, the starting point is the parking lot, I'm assuming.
it's not open yet. Do you know if it's going to be open?
Like I said, it's a county park. I don't know anything about it.
We can reach out to John, I don't know if you're, what was his name? Matt at the, it works at the township, or it works at the county.
Yeah.
I have it. I have the guy's contact that that works specifically with all the trail stuff in Delaware County. We met him at the Trail Summit. He gave me his contact. I have it. So if we need to find out more information in between now and then, Doug definitely has contact, but I can also give it to you as well if you have additional questions.
I
Yeah.
just will say if it's open.
Yeah.
Park there, but otherwise park across where the Home Depot is.
Yeah. Okay.
And then your bike ride.
Yeah, okay, so next one, I'm glad you're here, Mr. Nee. So we had sent in the form and the bike route for the use of the township properties and then getting potential support from the police department for a couple of the crosses on the major routes along there. George responded. I was on vacation for a couple weeks and then didn't know really at the time what to do, but basically, who do I have to contact? Do you have the contacts over at Listener? So I can show them our plan to get, you know, like, yeah, you guys are okay, you can do this kind of deal.
You need to do two. Sorry, you need to do two things. One, because you're wanting to use police and do that, you need to go before the board of supervisors. So
Okay.
I tentatively put you on that agenda just so that I could hold that spot. knowing that you
When's
guys
the
are
next
meeting
meeting for that?
The 14th. And so you need somebody to go and kind of present what you're doing. Secondly, they have a management company. Do we have the contact information, Rose, for the management company? Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get
Okay.
you something. If nothing else, I can at least give you who the president of the HOA
Yeah.
is.
What I'd like to do is I'll send them the map, tell them what we're doing, tell them the dates, the times, what we're thinking.
I just want everybody to be aware that is not public
Yeah.
area. That's a private area. So, you know, they may ask for insurance and things like that. So just know that it's, if it's a township road, I'm not worried, but it's not a township road. And so that's my concern.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is obviously stay off of the main roads as much as possible, and it is a quiet and safe neighborhood. So we were mostly trying to just traverse the main roads in as short a sections as possible. That's why we're going over into Upper St. Albans for a portion of it, and then coming back over into Lister to get us all the way up to the Meadows. But if we need to, if for some reason it's a problem, I don't know, I'll talk to James Bergman at Bike Delco and see about what we can change if necessary and
Yeah.
what other potential options. we have.
I would have a second option kind of lining out because your
Yeah.
time is short.
I'm already thinking of it, trying to figure it out. It's just gonna be not as enjoyable. That's all. And my bigger concern would be that we're gonna be on the more dangerous roads more often, which is what I was exactly trying to avoid, but
No,
is what it is.
I understand your approach. I
Yeah.
just understand it's
Yep.
also, it's a HOA.
Yep.
The good news is bikes don't put much weight on the roads. And so
Yeah,
it's not like you're running through with a bunch of cars or something like that. So,
yeah, we're not driving triaxles through.
no,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, so August 14th, what's our meeting start time, sir?
7.
7? Thank you. All right, well. I'll make myself available. It's my birthday, but you guys are gonna have cake for me, right?
Sure. It was my grandmother's birthday. too.
Yeah? All right, so the long and short of it is the plan, I did fill out that form, gave it over to George. You already penciled me in. Thank you for that. Once you get that contact over to me, I'll reach out. See what they have to say. I'll work on a backup plan with James Bergman. Maybe I'll call him tomorrow and figure out if there's an alternative that we could still make it fun, keep it around the same distance, but keep it on more of the township roads. There is a possibility that maybe we can do is when we come out of Upper St. Albans, we can go along Goshen to Bryn Mawr for a short stretch to get us into Lower St. Albans down by Brookside, because we're going to Brookside. And then Lower St. Albans is really quiet. We can go back down that way before we come back towards the township building. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
So
We just wouldn't end up making it to the Meadows.
the other thing that we need is kind of what your expectation of having an officer looks like.
The expectation, I mean, I thought I made it clear, but the expectation was literally just, we're going to ride in a group. We're not going to have separate groups. And it was literally, we're going to have on the crossing, just literally watching there, trying to give presents, maybe put on the lights to just kind of
No,
make it aware.
I looked at it, maybe I missed it, but it looks like there's several crossings.
Yeah,
And so like, you need to give kind of time frame of what you, like, I understand, I think what you're looking for.
okay.
But we need a little bit of a time, like, how long do you think it's gonna be before, like, you go across once, how long do you think it is before you come back?
Gotcha.
And what that looks like?
Understood.
And
Okay.
just make sure that we have that we're all on the same page.
Yep.
It probably wouldn't hurt for us to have a short sit down,
Sure.
you know, with the officers, you know, and if we need somebody else from staff, just to kind of talk through what it looks like.
Okay. No problem.
may I talk about two other walks that are
Of
scheduled?
course.
Okay, on September 16th, it's going to be confirmed in the next, hopefully next week, that Walk with a Dock will occur at Garrett Williamson. And if you guys don't know, these are some really cool magnets that you can put on your car from Garrett Williamson. They're $5. And I just got mine. So that will be at 10 a.m. to 11:30 on September 16th. And then on October 11th, there is the Harvest Festival, which is their biggest event of the year at Garrett Williamson. And last year we ran multiple walks. Starting, I think the biggest group was the 10 a.m. group, because that was prior to the official opening of the Harvest Festival. And then the groups got smaller subsequently. So I just was
Because people were
talking.
doing other things in the festival.
I'm over at the barn, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I
yeah.
can't make it, stuff
Yep.
like that. So I was just talking with them about, do you guys need for walks? Because they're looking for a sponsor for the hikes.
Mhm.
So we don't know how many we're gonna run. It will be more than one, probably not four. Because, as you say, it just competes with other things and
With the numbers that they had up there, I mean, you just do two walks, two big groups separated by 2 hours. Probably plenty fine, but
maybe that
Yeah.
would work. Beth, what do you think?
I wasn't there last year, so I don't have a good opinion on how the setup was. I guess my first question is, are they looking for us to help lead walks?
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
that.
that's what we did
There's
last time.
Me, there's
yeah.
Giselle and
Yeah.
Alex and
Yeah,
somebody else.
I've done some of the other ones.
Yeah,
And how long are they looking for the walk?
they're different. That's the other thing, is
But-
that
okay,
some
so-
will be
So it's the
easier and
shorter
some are
ones, like
harder.
Giselle will
Yeah.
take the little ones.
No, Giselle takes the biggest,
Okay.
the longest. one.
Okay. But, okay,
So they're different walks at the same time, right?
No, we ran them
No, we ran them separate
Just
last
one?
time.
right
Okay.
yeah.
consecutively.
It could be like having an adult walk earlier in the day and then having a more kid-friendly one at a more kid-friendly time. Where lunches and.
Kids wanted to do the harder walks. I
Yeah,
think it was more for, people that were more worried about climbing the hills with the monks more than
Yeah.
anything.
they were cute.
Yeah.
They were so cute. And
There was
How many
lots of
people
kids
did
that
they get
did.
last year?
how many walkers?
How many people in total for
Oh.
the event?
1,000, over
Okay.
1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was big.
There's a lot of people.
It was a little over 1,000. I wouldn't say it was like 1,200. I think it was more like 1,100. So
And
yeah, and this year we're gonna try even harder. So
The other option would be just having signups for the walks to limit the number of people, but then you know for sure how many are coming, like if they did like sign up Genius or something like that.
they
then we-
do.
Then we can
do.
plan on, how many folks are needed to.
Yeah, so we have two sign up environments, one on Meetup, and we also say on Meetup, you need to go register at this link for Garrett Williamson. So GW has a roster of who is supposed to be at these walks. But if they don't show up, they don't show up, but we didn't have to turn anybody away. We just made it 4 walks because we had so many people sign up. I think it was a max of 25 per walk. I think that's about what we said. Was it?
Oh,
more
we
than
had,
that?
I thought we had more than that in that earlier.
Did
walk.
we have
Yeah, it was a
40?
lot.
Okay.
I remember the early walk being like really long.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
not really long, sorry, a large group.
large group
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
was, yeah.
There was a
And we
lot, there was a
could-
lot more interest in the one walk than we thought there would be.
And we do have historically options to, 2 people start at opposite ends of the
Yep.
property and then, cross over. So we do that. So those are the walks, August 26th, September 16th, October 11th, and the bike ride is on the 10th. And that's the story.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. So next one I kind of have here, I think I wrote that in a delirium when I sent it to Steve Bradley there, but the social media posts in general. So one of the things I was trying to do, thank you, by the way, Beth, for preparing one for today. So one of the things I was hoping to do was to trying it, but trying to do something a little bit different. We're engaging all the members of the group, and maybe just every month is a different member of the group that's going to write one. Like just said, hey, this month, this person's going to do it. And you write it and you work with the rest of us. I mean, you're not going to do it by yourself, but basically do the legwork to figure out what we think would be a good one related to our mission and what we're doing. Write something up, and then you could send it obviously to any of the other members in the group that you think would be helpful in crafting it, rewording it, whatever. Maybe even for helping you find photos or something. But I'm looking for, because Beth's done a few of them now, Terry's done a few of them, but trying to engage everybody in the group really. So I'm a little frustrated because there's not as many people here today from the group, but that was one thing I was really hoping for and looking for everybody's input if they think that'll work. But I don't know.
Thank you. Well,
I
Yeah, you want to talk about the
whipped
one
it up
you?
very quick. So, I saw the agenda and I'm like, oh, I haven't written a Facebook post in a while. I should do that. And so I looked at my little cheat sheet that I had given to all you guys for what the holidays are and stuff. And August is National Fishing Month. So kind of talked about stream quality and what you can do for stream quality in your yard, like not mowing up to the edge of the stream, having that riparian buffer. And then also in coming to meetings like this to encourage preservation of green space around waterways to keep that high quality streams, which will help give us better habitat for the fish. So kind of a roundabout way to like, hey, protect the streams, go fishing, yay. I don't have a picture for it yet because literally I wrote this at 4:30 today.
We
So
appreciate it.
I only have printouts of it, and Steve, if you want to see what it is, I can email it out too. So if you hate it, let me know. If you love it, cool, and I'll forward it on. But
A lot of this stuff in the network plan talks about the importance and sometimes how when you can do trails adjacent to some of our streams and watersheds. I mean, obviously, I don't know, does everybody in this entire town get their water from the reservoir?
no, there's some people still.
There is? Oh, besides wells, I mean,
I was gonna
there's
say
no
there's-
other public source though in our township but that reservoir, correct?
No.
Am I wrong? Okay.
Let me just say, I don't think so.
Okay.
But
It's
the
a
way
pretty good
Aqua's-
assumption.
The way Aqua's lines run.
Yeah.
It's very possible that there's a back source as well, but I don't know
Okay.
what it would be.
Amazingly enough, it comes from Pickering Creek all the
Yeah.
way down here.
Yeah.
You'd think it would be coming from somewhere a lot closer, but that's the way they do it. That's a long way.
Yeah, that's interesting. But you've talked about like the water quality, the streams, how important the watersheds are. Not building right up to it and all that kind of stuff before, and a lot of our walks you've mentioned, I know, so. It is part of something that has been touched on in our Greenways plan, in the network
Yeah.
plan, and how important it is and all that kind of stuff, so I think it's great, thank you. Really,
it's also part of where we're going on the 26th, because they have this creek through the woods, right?
And
So,
quite honestly, I mean, a lot of our parks have streams in them, and just in general, being good stewards of the land. So even if we're not doing a walk next to a stream, it's still
Yeah.
a good message to get out there, and it helps people think
Part of the
about,
watershed, even
yeah,
though there's no
um,
creek around.
what they can do just in their own yard, and then bigger picture. And it was very briefly, I touched on, native plants have deeper roots, which help hold the soil in place, so you have less erosion, stream banks and stuff like that. It also slows the movement of water, so you have less sediment and runoff going into your stream. Manner. And then having the vegetation around the stream will help keep water temperatures down, which helps higher water temperatures means less dissolved oxygen, which means less oxygen available for the aquatic life, so they're not suffocating. So simple things that people can do in their yard. Also, it means you don't have to mow as much of your yard, so yeah, that. And then come to a meeting. If you think it's important, tell your supervisor if you think it's important, and help preserve green space around this. So it hits the parks, it hits. the
It's
trails that
everything.
We do, it hits township, just water quality, watersheds and all that fun stuff, hopefully.
I Might sound. I have. Hi, Terry, hi. Okay. Are we sending David?
No, everything still goes to Steve. He just happens to be out today.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So this is gone already?
No,
No,
I haven't
she
done
literally
it.
just wrote it.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's why it's printed instead of emailed to everyone, because I'm like, I just wrote it, so here it is.
Yeah, seriously, thank you. It does hit like literally every single item that we would care about for
Yeah,
us. So
I don't think we have to look at it again.
I agree.
You're right, is good.
Okay.
And then you want to throw a little, any picture of a
Yeah,
native trout or something, maybe.
I need to find something, or maybe like a nice,
I have some
Wooded
stuff
stream
from
or
the,
something like that.
I have stuff from the walk that I just did over it.
Oh, nice.
I will send it to you.
Over at Okahocking or
No.
Okehocking.
No,
They have that nice stream that rolls right through there along
Oh,
that
yeah.
side.
maybe
It's a
I'll
really
find
nice
something
spot, yeah.
for you. I was talking about the Don Guanella.
Oh, okay.
where-
I even have some. Probably a trail cam picture that I can use, of like a great blue heron fishing in Preston Run behind my house or something like that.
Nice.
Excellent.
Doesn't show good vegetation.
You have that
necessarily.
behind your house? Blue heron, really? That's cool.
I even have like hawks taking a bath in the creek and
That's-
every once in a while I get a wood duck and
It's pretty cool.
yeah, makes me happy.
Location.
All right, well, that's good then. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Beth.
We'll send this on.
And is everybody, I think I'm just gonna, from now on, like, okay, so let's talk about that next month. Who wants to write one up for next month? Any volunteers? If not, I'm assigning them.
The topic.
Well, it could be, that's the thing. I just want the person to come up with it and then present it at the next meeting. And then we could say, yeah, that sounds great.
Well, she
Or-
has holidays.
So an easy one for September is National Public Lands Day. And we're all about public lands. So talking about how we preserve them, what we do to maintain them, how, give a call to action to come to meetings, stuff like that. So that would be an easy one.
All right, it's my initiative to have a new member do it, so I'll write this. I'll write the first one to kick it off.
And then if we move into October, it's Rector Month, National Book Month, so you can pick something, some type of environmental type of book. It's Photographer Appreciation Month, so it could be like, hey, post your favorite, like, here's some favorite pictures from the township and in the natural areas and just kind of.
Can you send this around?
You
I
did.
have sent this out, but I can
Yeah.
dig it up again.
Okay.
What else do we got in October? Children's Health Day and Indigenous Peoples' Day. So those would be easy ones too, children health, I know it sounds a little funny, but it's like, get outside, the whole campaign to do that, so you can pose it as, that type of thing, and then Indigenous Day, obviously, we can talk about Lenape presence in the area and the Goshen Trail project that we're trying to do and that type of thing.
I already know what I'm gonna write for my.
Do you want me to keep
Perfect.
going with November or should I stop?
No, it's good for now. I
Okay.
think just each month, maybe it'd be helpful to have it ready. But each month, new person will take it and then we can suggest the possible topics. So I'll come to the meeting in September with my idea or with my write-up, my social media post for everybody to review and, then we can decide on posting it or whether or not you guys think it stinks. And then we can elect the next person for October. And we could talk about the possible things they go through. Just trying to get as much collaboration and engagement as possible, something new. So,
When's the next article?
I'll have to let you know. I think it's middle to the end of September, but I'm not exactly
I think
sure.
it is. I know it's September. I just don't know exactly when.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank right now. I know it.
Yeah. It is actually helpful though that we meet like so early in the month, like it is helpful.
Yeah.
With planning of anything, if there's any last minute things we have to do before the end of the month, like we can at least talk about it ahead of time. All right. All right, anything else? Anybody else? No? Okay, move on from new business to old business. Monthly review of the network plan. So I was reading this in the airport and kind of going through it. So the topic this month is the land use, the distribution and the numbers basically. So I was kind of going through what we had and, the different separation, how the township land is used and, the different public parks or areas for recreation, community services, all that. And how much of the township is residential, which is 36, or at least was, I should say, 36.1% back in, I think, 2018 was when the numbers were pulled from the census. And they kind of did an extrapolation up to the 2020 date in which this was actually published. But so more than a third of the entire town is, as far as land mass is concerned, is used for residential. And then you've got a little less than that, about a third is kind of between agriculture and wooded and water space, according to this, which doesn't sound right, to be honest, at all. But this is what the report is saying. So it's a little confusing, right? I've got it right in front of me. I got the graph.
Yeah,
It's
I
crazy.
think it was based on, well, okay, I'll leave it for what it is.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like I'm looking at it, when I read it, I was shocked. And I kind of didn't believe it.
Well, I think I think if you took it in a perspective of what's the amount that's not pervious, or the amount that's impervious,
Maybe.
or if that's how they're
That's-
saying what the residential portion is, that makes sense.
I don't know. Residential, it says single and multifamily homes, 36.1%.
Yep,
I would have thought it would have been much higher if you're talking about private proproperties, maybe.
I think
'Cause
they're
it-
talking though about,
It doesn't differentiate though, and it doesn't
No.
explain it, which
Mhm.
was a kind of a miss, honestly, from an engineer's perspective, looking at doing this
Yeah.
report, I'd be like, that's something doesn't seem right. But the reason I bring it up and why it is helpful to still go through this and understand it is it's interesting how, they say like numbers don't lie, but stats can be confusing. They can be misleading sometimes. And it's especially to somebody like I'm somebody that reads reports like this a lot and does these reports. Somebody that doesn't, like the average township member, might not really understand what they're getting into, but they have access to this report. And we did push a lot of people to the link on the website, Steve, where they could actually find the network plan. Because a lot of people were asking, where can I find this map that you have on the table with the trails of what is existing, what we're proposing, and we were pushing them to it. But then if somebody actually reads through this, they might be super confused because honestly, it wasn't even clear to me. And I know how to read this stuff. So it was just something I wanted to bring up, is that the numbers are helpful. It's there, but a little bit misleading, a little confusing, provides a lot. You need a lot more context. I think that's all. I don't know.
Just depends on your interpretation.
Yeah. I always used to make the joke about a few baseball players that everybody thought were very good due to their stats. But I remember when I had season tickets and I'm standing there watching them and they never hit those, they never got the hits in the moments we need them to actually win the game. So that was always the analogy I would use when people would talk about, the stats. That's pretty much it. That was the topic for this weekend, or this week, that I was kind of looking at. I'm going sequentially in order. So that is like, just what's the next one in line, and generated those thoughts. I don't know if anybody else has any comments, questions on that regarding the township plan.
There was an article in the paper this morning. What do you think of us? Does Newtown Square have any properties that are not paying their taxes that will eventually become blight properties?
Used to be.
They just passed a law or passed a new thing up in Harrisburg. It was written up that they're stiffening the retaliation that the townships could do to get those properties under township control, rather than this long protracted
So,
process that has historically.
Are you talking about township taxes, which would be like the school and local stuff? Are you talking, because I know Delaware County, if you don't pay, like Delaware County you can go to the courthouse right now and you can find every single home, resident owner, private owner in Delaware County that has not paid the property taxes. And I can actually pay that person's taxes and hold, well, it's an investment thing. That's why I was saying, and you can actually like hold a lien. So I didn't know if it was something like that, like, but that's the county. It's a little bit different than the township.
So how it works is at the end of every year, our tax collector turns over any unpaid properties to the county. And the county does the
Yeah.
collection at that point. So if you're seeing it at the county, it's
Yeah.
it could be county taxes, it could be school taxes, it could be township taxes. But if a person doesn't pay, what I will say is we have a 90, it's anywhere from a 98 to a 99% payment here in Newtown of people that pay their taxes on a timely basis. Where what we had, and that, but you don't, let me say this, not necessarily does that mean that something's is or isn't run down. We have people that are paying taxes that their properties are run down. That's a different story. So do we have things where there's blight? I think we're starting to have a couple properties. I don't think it's like, I've been in communities where it's a problem. I think we have a couple issues is a better way for me to say it. You know, it's not like you're looking at a third of the properties have issues, or even 1%. It's a very small bit of a much bigger piece. I mean, obviously, anytime we have properties that sit vacant, we're concerned and we watch them. And we have guidelines that we can take. If somebody doesn't maintain their property properly, we can go in, maintain it to a certain level and actually lien the property.
That's
the
what
work
I was
that we
gonna
do.
ask, if you guys already had the legal, like, the ordinance, I guess, or whatever legal, to be able to do that, so.
Yeah, like if you don't maintain your grass cutting, if you don't, if we think your property's uninhabitable, we have certain things we can do. We've been very fortunate. We've had to do that very little. And we've been able to really, in most cases, get people to move forward.
I was gonna
There's
say,
always one
it's
or
pretty
two.
nice here.
Huh?
I was gonna say, compared to, I know the properties and how many of them where I grew up, it's comparable here. The 90-some% makes sense for what you
Yeah.
said.
I mean, what? Does it happen? I'm not gonna say no. Is it a major problem here? It is not. But if they've made it easier for us to do some things,
Yeah.
I'll be looking, because when you do take those steps, I mean, right now, it's a very long, protracted process.
Right, that's what. But, ooh, this is interesting because I don't rent, but there are situations where I know people who rent and they're like, a mold in here is horrendous, and this and that. But I don't know how you would do anything against the landlord.
And that's a little different.
That, I was gonna say, that's
There-
different.
There's two different issues between blight and that problem.
Yeah,
I mean, and we can do some things about that as well.
I'm just thinking, oh, tear it down, make green space, you know?
I knew why you started it, and then I
Yeah,
was like, wondering, I knew what you were thinking as soon as you brought it up. It is interesting. Okay, so reviewed that, on to 8.2. I don't know if she ever got back to you, because there was a time you were on vacation, and then there was, you
Yes.
guys had some miscues in scheduling, so.
We did meet at the beginning of June. George came out and some other folks. We walked the Goshen Trail. We kind of went back and forth with, some ideas. Where we might be able to put things. We were looking at what already exists, that type of stuff. To be quite honest, the next week I had multiple family members in town for high school graduation. Then shortly after that, went on vacation for 2 weeks, and I've been sick for the last 2 weeks. So I need to contact, get back into touch with them and kind of recap what all went down. And
I didn't know if there was any future action items or things that you were
we
waiting.
need to figure that out. We need to figure out what next steps are. The Shelley, who I've been dealing with, has been great. She knows definitely what plants the Lenape have used for various reasons. Kind of the tripping point is what we consider native versus what we consider non-native. Right now, when we can call something a native plant, we're looking pre-colonialism. So that's over 300 years ago. And, you know, culture changes over 300 years and adapts. So some of the plants that they've been using for could be 250 years are not native. So that's where we're trying to kind of.
Their own tribe, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
and so that's kind of the issue I'm having right now is like her getting me kind of a list of some of the plants that are most common that would make sense for areas, and then going through like what's actually native, what's not native, what is invasive, make sure we
Well,
don't do that.
That's what I say, like, I mean, if we're splitting hairs on it, as long as it's not an invasive species that we know from current science has like a deleterious effect on other species, and that would be
Yeah,
the
so, like, I
bigger
mean,
distinction. That would be more important.
She mentioned garlic mustard. Definitely not planting garlic mustard. That's an invasive species list, but the township has this 80% native plants for new plantings. So trying to stick to that and really represent that best we can. I have been debating, I have a friend who is a landscape architect and has some experience in this type of stuff, and see if she might be willing to give some advice along the way, because it's I'll tell you later. Yeah, it's a bit of a big project, and we just kind of need to get the foundation in place and know how to move forward. I think we're slowly moving there. It's going to be a progression, a slow progression, but we're moving forward. And I'm excited. She did give me, I think I have it here. I have it somewhere. List of a lot of plants that they used. It's somewhere in my pile of stuff, with the Lenape names and stuff too. And we were talking about making sure that we have signage that does represent the Lenape names and how they were used. And again, trying to use what's already there, but also trying to address some of the water issues on that trail. So I'm trying to cram a lot of multi-purpose things into something, and I don't know if it's going to totally work. And that's why I'm hoping to get a little bit of outside advice on that type of stuff. But yeah, it's coming along. I'm excited. It's just moving slow.
Thank you. Last item, old business, is the budget request due this month. We talked about it last month. Really, last month came up with, I mean, to date, the most comprehensive, at least as far as the input, and we're doing a little quick estimating, and I put on there 600 because that's basically what we came up to, was 600 a year, barring any like weird stuff like that we just couldn't foresee, obviously. And this would be simple stuff like just having that to be able to go when we do trail walks, especially in the heat, be able to go, you know, and I know I found out that the township has ice, it has an ice machine, but if we need to go to Wawa real quick and get bags of ice or something for a cooler, or if we need to get, I think we were talking about buying like, you know, small dog poop bags to hand out to people at the trail walks, so they can pick up the small things, you know, tissues and whatnot along the trail, cigarette butts, stuff like that. The meetup fee was the main one that we know is recurring and everything like that. So that's kind of the total that we came up to. I haven't heard any new suggestions or got anything in the email since our last meeting. Mr. Neese, what is the format in which you guys need to see this so I can send it over?
It's the form that we handed out. I just need that
Thank you.
breaking down. Like the meetup fee would be one.
Mhm.
You know, if you have something just for trail walks and you want to say we need to stick $50 in for trail walks or whatever, that I don't think you need to fill out one for each trail walk, but that would be, you know, however you want to do that.
Want to buy
This
that
is different.
fan, it's $20 in the future. That one's mine.
I got you.
They're very functionally helpful.
Okay.
If you do it, I would say.
Did we ever get a digital version of that? I know you handed it out in person the one day, but I don't know if I ever got a digital version of that.
I don't recall.
Okay.
I thought it was sent out digitally.
I thought
can
so
look
too.
back.
All right. If not, I'll
I
generate it. Yeah.
I'm like, I can erase
Take
my stuff.
yeah. Can you just take a picture of your phone, send it to me, or
Yeah, I
maybe, you
think
know?
$50 or so of an event makes, because sometimes you end up buying a bunch of stuff like a tablecloth and you get a cooler and you get some other stuff printed, which we don't do a very good job of having in flyers or anything like that, but we're getting better. We have a barcode now. But down the pike, you don't know exactly what might be a fee that you. So that doesn't include the trail markers that you guys are gonna,
No.
okay.
So, but that stuff, we can do specific requests, and Mr. Neese has covered that in the
Your
past.
bike, that's gonna have some costs with your bicycle bike, because you're gonna. You know, maybe, I don't know, if you have to pay somebody to come about safety.
That's what the, like, Delk Bico Coalition, their volunteer group, they're doing this as part of their initiatives to help us out. So they're the ones that are speaking about bike safety, bike maintenance, advocacy for bike trails and road diets and all that kind of stuff. So that's their contribution to it, which is why we're so grateful and trying to make this work and trying to utilize them as much as possible, because they do this with a lot of other townships. They do it with Delaware County. They have a big one, like a really big one every year down by the soccer stadiums and stuff. So, yeah,
You know what I wanted.
and they're part of a national network too. This is obviously their chapter, I guess, the Delaware County chapter.
There's something they do in Europe, which is really cool. It's a barefoot trail. And they make them in places like Luxembourg and France and so forth. And they're trails that they don't have to be completely, grass, but it's the concept almost of forest bathing, the Japanese do, but you take your shoes off, your little kids, everybody, and they experience the different feels of here's the sand, here's the mulch, here's this. And it's incredibly popular, and they advertise it as at their town meetings, and people, they ensure that there's no glass there. Okay, which actually there is in the Don Guanella place. Be sure you know that there's a lot of broken glass in there. But that's just a really beautiful concept, and you're engaging with nature in a different way, if you don't mind getting your feet a little dirty.
I'm curious if there's any existing township property that we could do something like that, especially for kids, like the sensory difference along existing. Yeah, I'm trying to think
Well,
of,
the
just-
Lissiger Trail is mowed, so that's grass most of the way.
But there are places where blackberry is creeping in, and I worry about thorns
Okay.
just being there. And then, you get into the parks and you have geese and what comes when geese are there. And so there, the idea is cool. It's just logistically,
I'm gonna send
would
you
be
guys an
yeah.
article on it.
Sure.
It's really cool.
I know what you're talking about though, because it's, I've read a book called The Nature Fix and they talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
so the one thing I would mention is even though it may not be new, if you guys are still wanting to do the signs, I would include that in your budget, just so that when you turn that in, we don't lose sight of something if we don't think it's going to be done by the end of the year.
I just don't know what to include as far as dollars.
there was a company or two looked at, and so I can give you kind of rough estimates.
Okay.
Are these wooden signs or are they metal?
So
Nice to come with.
I know George originally was talking about getting like road type signs, so like metal ones. What I looked at was a company that prints wayside, so I think they're like a fiberglass type of thing, some type of composite. I can see if I can look up at the website that I was checking out to give you prices for the wayside fiberglass type ones, but I think George would probably be the best resource for metal ones that he had.
When's the final budget document due again? It's like this, the end of next week? Or Thursday? If the Board of Supervisors is meeting August 14th on a Monday, I think.
No, we're not, they don't have to be for that one.
Okay.
It's actually, I'm getting it in for the September meeting, and I believe
Okay.
I said, I'll have to look back for sure. I don't have it right in front of me, but
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure I got it to you in time. That's all. I don't want to
I
wait.
want to
that-
say it's either the 1st of September or the 8th of September. I don't remember what I said.
If you do consider wood, I think it's something that we talked about for the Harvest Festival. We're going to use the old wood from the silo in the 200-year-old barn to make coasters, it makes it like an incredibly valuable giveaway or to buy,
But
to
for,
sell
like
for the
a
harvest.
sign that you're printing stuff on, it's not gonna stand up for very long.
Oh,
So,
you can't use wood for that.
You,
Okay.
you, ideally, you're using a metal post and you're printing on something that can be covered, so then people can't carve into it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
You
it-
probably experienced all the vandalism at the national park, right?
yeah, I mean, we luckily aren't too bad, but once in a while you see somebody trying to carve into something and. Yeah, so wood just doesn't hold up well to the elements. It's fine for like a vertical, like trailhead sign that usually has a cover and that protects it from some of the moisture and stuff like that. But if you're doing kind of a, something that's sitting like this and you have posts coming down, it's not necessarily.
Yeah, it
gonna
looks
be-
like a drafting table kind of.
Yeah, it's gonna be more subject to that. And then, so the post ideally would be metal, and then the actual thing that the sign is printed on would be some type of surface that, won't expand when it gets wet, and crack when it dries and stuff like that.
All right, so. Yeah, can you just like shoot a picture? That's a bit something. I'll fill out the form, update it. I'll add in the estimate that you gave me for the signage. Have all the other stuff. That should be fine. Get that in quickly and then.
I want to know if
So long.
if we have an emergency on a walk for any reason, is there any number that you all want us to have for any resource rather than 911?
No.
Just use 911.
911 is particularly if it's in any place in Delaware County, 911 is what you should call if you have any kind of emergency.
Does Delaware County have a non-emergency number?
Nope. 911 is the number. If you dial 911, it's like just calling the police department here, or it's like calling an emergency. So it's the same.
Great. Okay. All right.
Before you go any further, if I could give you just two quick updates
Yeah.
that we have going on that I think you might want to be aware of.
Sure.
Actually three, the engineer met with the contractor related to the sidewalk out here on Ellis. Hopefully they'll be getting started with that in the next 30 days or so. So we'll start seeing some progress out there on that. As part of that, the grant opportunity came around and we submitted for two different grants. One would be to continue the sidewalk that goes up the street here, where it kind of stops in the middle of the ball area. That we would take that all the way down to Campus Boulevard. We are also working with a second grant. That grant was for $250,000 with I want to say a 10% match, if I remember right. And then there is a no match grant for up to $3 million. And so we put in for the trail along Campus Boulevard that we had talked about before. So I just wanted you to know the ones that we had talked about before, we're still pushing forward on, and we're still moving. I'm in negotiations right now with the potential to pick up an additional some sidewalk along Westchester Pike too. So looking at, we start talking about connection points, some of it's trails, but some of it's also sidewalk that we're using to connect people. So
Sidewalks, great though.
just
'cause we
wanted
still
to let
get a
you
lot of
know.
those requests. So.
yeah, so we're just working through that. So just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you. No, that's good. I mean, when we were talking at the farmer's market, one of the things, especially with the parents, with the families and the kids were like, why does this sidewalk end? And why can't we don't have a sidewalk here? So that's still like, I mean, it's definitely in there as the connectivity and the sidewalks safety. So it's good.
I think along Campus Boulevard is going to be more of a trail.
Yeah.
Kind of an approach than a sidewalk, but just to get us started. So that's what we're looking at.
And still on track with the temporary parking lot over at the Meadows for the fall construction.
I don't know if we're still in negotiations a little bit right now with, we're clear with Lister. We're working with Episcopal Academy. So
Oh, okay.
I also have a piece that I have to get done with PennDOT. So we're working on both sides of that.
Okay.
It's being worked on. It's not being ignored.
No.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not saying that. I just,
I
the
don't, we're
last time we had
hoping,
heard of it, we were hearing like potential for the fall construction.
I think there still may be at least some clearing. I don't know that we'll get the full construction done.
Okay.
I wanted to mention that at the farmer's market, several people commented to me about the St. Albans Circle, capacity to walk there a little bit more now. Maybe they became aware because of the Circle at Sundown thing. But they feel better about walking around that circle, which was incredibly dangerous previously. But I think what you've done makes people aware, I can go here.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to walk here.
We are, and we're actually doing a couple more steps. So the board has agreed to have the engineering done to actually where you won't be exactly as it is now, because the engineers come up with some ideas that I think are really good. But very similar to how it's painted. We're gonna start tearing out where it's green and actually make it green instead of being asphalt. So that we're working on that. And so the engineers working through some stuff right now, a little bit concerned about some stacking, but we've hopefully will be getting something there pretty soon.
Having an office there, I can tell you it makes it.
Yeah.
Getting to the mailbox or a couple other places, that green area is very good.
Yeah.
The cars respect it.
Yeah. Well, there'll actually be curb. There'll actually be some kind of planning in that area.
I drive that
So-
circle pretty much every day now. And it has been a lot different since the changes.
Will say I parked in the Rite Aid instead of over in your Casey's.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
And when you come out of that Rite Aid into the circle, you're not supposed to turn left. You have to turn left in there all the time to go, because they don't want to go around the circle to go to the light. So if there's some trick you can do there,
We are,
okay, because I would go all the way around.
I do it all the time. I go out and I go around the circle.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm kind of a scofflaw.
Bad,
I'll go quietly.
Well, let's just say it will be more difficult to go at all. So quietly or not.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for the update, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, so next public comment, no one here, obviously haven't gotten any. We were really trying hard and pushing the people to show up to meetings at the farmer's market and letting them know when they happen and what's going on. It is summer, it is harder, but we're gonna try and we're gonna keep pushing to get people to come to these meetings. And then when we do more development review packages and stuff for the John, help me, the planning commission meetings, the board of supervisor meetings, like those are the meetings where things happen. We talk a lot about it here, but those, for some of the people we were specifically talking to, it's like, maybe you would be more aligned to going to the planning commission if you're really that unhappy with this development, you know what I mean? So that's some of the things we were talking about with some of the residents who were asking us questions.
And I don't think people know about us unless we're out there in front of them, or we have. I was wondering, can we make swag like this too to put on our cars? So people think, oh, Trails and Greenways is a thing.
Yeah.
This doesn't cost a lot. I'm sure you don't.
I'm not saying no.
And all the committees would want one.
Well, and to be honest with you, my only concern would be. That's great as long as everybody's doing things well, but if people start doing things not so well, what's the image? So let me make sure we just go through something there, but no, I hear you.
Advertising.
Nope, I got you.
I know.
I'll push it.
Um. It's. All right, items for the next agenda. So obviously we'll have we have some of our recurring items which come up every month, the social media posts, the network plan review. We talk about past trail walks and upcoming trail walks, but is there anything else anybody in particular would like to add for next meeting to put in the agenda for September? Hopefully at that point, it's the beginning of the month, everything will be okay with the bike ride, or at least an adjusted view of it, and we'll be just promoting that and talking about how that's going to go. So that might eat up a lot of time next month with more details and logistics. I may even ask to see if James Bergman from Delco Bike Coalition is available to come back, not to present in the same way he did before, but maybe to talk the very important details and specifics of what's going to go down. So that might be a helpful thing to do. So I was thinking about it, but I got to call him and see if he's even available. Anyone else have anything?
If you haven't walked the Ashford Preserve, it's gorgeous.
I don't even know where that is. What is that?
Goshen Road, go towards Westchester, right? So at Grubbs Mill, it intersects, and that's the one bird preserve called Kirkwood. But they have another one, Ashbridge Preserve, and you literally cross a creek. Willistown has money because when you cross that creek, there are these huge concrete, like, what do you call that shape? Like a chevron? And it goes like this. Yeah,
Yeah,
and so chevron, you walk across these concrete pillars across their creek, and it's a big one, and they take incredible care of their water, and they got trees planted everywhere, and it's phenomenal walk. It's gorgeous. And there's only about 10 parking
At
spots.
my age and have a little balance problem, getting across that concrete is a little bit challenging. Yeah,
John,
But it's
we'll float you across in a dinghy.
there you go.
We'll have a little ferry service.
But that is beautiful. And actually, you can keep going for a long way once you get across. Creek. I mean, you can go for miles back.
Yeah, it's on your All Trails app. You can add it on.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay, I'll take a look.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Good exercise.
Yeah. Pretty pretty.
Okay. Thank you. We'll take a look. All right. That's it. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Don't move.
Moved by John Custer, seconded by Terry McCarthy. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Motion passed unanimously. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.